A single signature destroyed a devoted father's career before lunchtime, and everyone in the office believed justice had been served. By the afternoon, the woman who had insisted he be fired found herself stranded beside a deserted highway, watching dozens of cars speed past without slowing down. The one person she never expected to see again was the man whose life she had just shattered. Before we begin this unforgettable journey, if you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is more powerful than revenge, and second chances can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our community. Grant Mercer had spent 7 years working as a maintenance supervisor for a respected manufacturing company in a quiet American town. Every morning before sunrise, he prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Marin, packed her lunch with handwritten notes, braided her hair after carefully learning from online tutorials, and walked her to school before heading to work. Since losing his wife to a sudden illness 3 years earlier, every decision he made revolved around giving Marin a stable, loving life. He never complained about the long hours or the endless overtime because every paycheck meant another month of keeping their modest home, another pair of shoes for his growing daughter, and another chance to make her smile. People at work admired Grant because he never avoided difficult tasks. If a machine failed, he fixed it. If someone needed help lifting equipment, he was already there before anyone asked. His honesty had earned him respect from co-workers, but not everyone appreciated his quiet confidence. Vivian Holloway had recently become the company's new operations director. Brilliant, ambitious, and determined to prove herself, she believed discipline was the foundation of success. She judged people quickly and expected perfection from everyone around her. She viewed emotional explanations as excuses and considered compassion a weakness that distracted people from productivity. The tension between Grant and Vivian began with something painfully ordinary. One unusually busy morning, Marin woke with a severe nosebleed that wouldn't stop. Grant stayed calm, cleaned her up, comforted her, and waited until the bleeding stopped before taking her safely to school. By the time he arrived at work, he was 20 minutes late. Unfortunately, that same morning an expensive shipment had been delayed because a loading platform inspection had not been completed on schedule. Although the inspection involved several departments and multiple supervisors, Vivian saw Grant's late arrival on the attendance report and immediately connected it to the delay without asking questions. Grant respectfully explained what had happened with his daughter and even offered to make up every lost minute by staying late. Vivian barely looked at him. She believed leaders who accepted personal excuses encouraged carelessness throughout the organization. She filed a formal report. The company president, relying on Vivian's recommendation and wanting to set an example, approved immediate termination for negligence and failure to report on time during a critical operational day. Grant quietly packed the few personal belongings from his locker. A family photograph. A small drawing Marin had made with the words, "My dad fixes everything." He thanked the co-workers who wished him well. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply walked away carrying a cardboard box while wondering how he would explain everything to the little girl waiting for him after school. That afternoon, Grant picked Marin up with the same warm smile she expected every day. He hid the pain behind gentle laughter as they shared sandwiches at a nearby park because he wanted one more normal afternoon before facing the uncertainty ahead. Marin noticed he seemed quieter than usual but leaned against his shoulder without asking questions. Sometimes children understand hearts better than words. Meanwhile, Vivian attended a regional business meeting in another city. Confident that she had made the correct decision, she drove home along a less-traveled highway under bright afternoon sunshine. Halfway back, her dashboard suddenly flashed warning lights before the engine lost power completely. She guided the car onto the shoulder. She tried restarting it. Nothing happened. Her phone battery had almost died after hours of presentations, and the area had poor signal. Vehicle after vehicle passed without stopping. Some drivers glanced toward her stranded car before continuing down the road. Minutes slowly turned into nearly an hour. The confident executive who had controlled an entire workplace suddenly felt surprisingly helpless. Then an older pickup truck slowed down. It pulled safely onto the shoulder several yards ahead. Grant stepped out. He recognized the expensive company vehicle immediately. He also recognized Vivian standing beside it. For a brief second, she expected him to keep driving after recognizing her. Instead, he walked over carrying a toolbox. His expression showed no anger. No satisfaction. Only concern. He inspected the engine carefully before discovering a damaged serpentine belt that had snapped unexpectedly. He happened to carry a universal replacement because he often helped neighbors with repairs on weekends for extra income. Working patiently beneath the afternoon sun, Grant replaced the belt, checked the engine, and tested everything twice before inviting Vivian to start the vehicle again. The engine roared back to life. Vivian stared at him in stunned silence. She reached into her purse to offer money. Grant politely declined. He simply smiled and said he hoped she would get home safely because someone was probably waiting for her too. As he prepared to leave, Vivian finally found enough courage to ask the question weighing heavily on her conscience. She quietly wondered why he had helped after everything she had done. Grant looked toward the open road before answering with calm honesty. He explained that Maren had already lost one parent. She didn't deserve to lose another because her father chose bitterness over kindness. He wanted his daughter to grow up believing people should help others, even when those others had caused pain. Then he drove away. Vivian remained standing beside her repaired car long after the truck disappeared into the distance. For the first time in years, success no longer felt impressive. That evening she couldn't stop thinking about the small family photo she had noticed inside Grant's pickup while he searched for tools. She remembered seeing a little girl's backpack on the seat and imagined the difficult conversation Grant must have faced after losing his job. The following morning, Vivian arrived at the office carrying a heavy burden she had never expected to feel. She requested every report related to Grant's termination. As she carefully reviewed maintenance records, security footage, inspection logs, and employee statements, uncomfortable truths began emerging. Grant had not caused the shipping delay. Several departments had failed to communicate properly. The inspection schedule had already been behind before he even arrived. His 20-minute delay had changed nothing. The responsibility had been shared across multiple managers, yet she had focused entirely on one man because she believed strict examples mattered more than understanding circumstances. Her decision had not been justice. It had been arrogance. Unable to ignore the truth any longer, Vivian scheduled an emergency meeting with the company president. She accepted complete responsibility. She admitted she had acted too quickly. She explained every mistake without trying to protect her reputation. The president, shocked by her honesty, agreed they needed to correct the damage immediately. Grant was invited back to the office. He arrived wearing the only pressed shirt he owned, expecting perhaps paperwork or final documents. Instead, the company president personally apologized. Grant received his job back with full back pay. He was also promoted to oversee safety improvements because his years of dependable service deserved recognition. Everyone waited to see Vivian defend herself. She didn't. She publicly apologized before the entire management team. She acknowledged that leadership without compassion eventually becomes injustice. Many employees were surprised because executives rarely admitted mistakes so openly. Grant accepted the apology with quiet grace. Not because the pain had disappeared, but because carrying resentment would only steal more happiness from the future he wanted for his daughter. Over the following months, the workplace slowly transformed. Vivian introduced new policies allowing supervisors to consider verified family emergencies before imposing disciplinary action. Employee support programs expanded. Training sessions emphasized listening before judging. Productivity unexpectedly improved because workers felt respected rather than feared. Grant continued fixing machines, mentoring younger technicians, and coaching Marin's weekend soccer team. One afternoon the company organized a family appreciation picnic in a sunny community park. Children laughed while parents shared food across long picnic tables. Vivian attended alone, uncertain whether she truly belonged among families whose trust she had once damaged. Then Marin walked over carrying 2 homemade lemonade cups. She offered one to Vivian with the innocent generosity only children possess. Grant watched from nearby. He smiled. Not because life had become perfect, but because kindness had quietly broken a cycle that pride could never have healed. Vivian spent the afternoon helping children organize games and listening to parents describe the daily challenges of balancing work and family. For the first time, she realized that every employee badge represented a life far bigger than any performance report. Months later, when another worker faced possible termination after repeatedly arriving late, Vivian asked questions before making assumptions. She learned the employee had been taking his elderly mother to cancer treatments every morning. Instead of dismissal, the company adjusted his schedule temporarily. Years afterward, that grateful employee became one of the organization's most trusted department managers. One compassionate decision created another. Then another. And another. Grant never considered himself extraordinary. He believed anyone could choose kindness. The difference was simply making that choice when it was hardest. His greatest achievement was never repairing broken machinery or earning promotions. It was raising a daughter who watched her father respond to unfairness with dignity instead of hatred. Marin grew into a young woman who volunteered in her community, helped strangers whenever possible, and often repeated the lesson her father had unknowingly taught an entire company: the strongest people are not those who win every argument but those who refuse to let pain change the goodness inside them. Before this story comes to its close, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment sharing whether you believe forgiveness makes a person stronger or whether earning a second chance is the greatest gift someone can receive. The afternoon when Vivian's car broke down became the day 2 lives changed forever. One man proved that compassion is most meaningful when offered to someone who least expects it. One woman discovered that admitting a painful mistake requires more courage than pretending to be right. A little girl gained a memory that would guide her for the rest of her life, and an entire workplace learned that fairness without empathy can never become true justice. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we all remember that the smallest act of kindness offered at the hardest moment can become the beginning of someone else's miracle, and sometimes, our own.